Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Get off the endless debt treadmill and start saving money each month. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Call Total Financial now at 800-208-1312. 800-208-1312.
Daria Albany, ABC News.
Hi, this is State Farm Agent John Wright. Every team knows the two-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm Agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Since 1951, Burgo Pest Control has been serving the Joliet and surrounding communities. In a few weeks, Burgo will be saying farewell as they begin their retirement. The Burgo family wishes to thank everyone who has allowed them into your homes and businesses. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
Good evening and welcome. It is the round one edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Edgy Tim here along with the coach, Joe Rodagaro, and Phil Cantu, filling in for Evan Bredesen behind the dials. And again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank our sponsors, which include State Farm agents Kevin Malloy in New Lenox and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joe.
State Farm is there. I got my jacket on.
Our 1340 WJOL game of the week is tomorrow evening. Class 8A, Coach, a 6 o'clock kickoff. Rich Township, the combination of Rich East and Rich South and Rich Central, joins our friends over at Plainfield North for a 6 o'clock kickoff. And, of course, pregame show at 5:40 with Evan Bredesen. And then going to do a special score zone immediately after the Rich Township Plainfield North game. It's about, 8 or 9 games going on around that time. So you're going to get live reports. Yes. I'm going to be one of those reports. And, it should be a good listen. So by all means, stick around after the game. We are going to go out to the phone lines now and be joined by the head coach of Plainfield North. And, again, thrilled to have Anthony Ambordino joining us. Coach, appreciate you taking a little bit of time, and welcome to the playoffs.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
9-0 regular season, high seed. I got to imagine you knocked off a few of those bullet points from the preseason off already this year.
Yeah, our kids have been playing extremely well, so we're excited to get in the playoffs, and just excited for tomorrow night right now.
Anthony, it seems like just 2 weeks ago we had the coaches show. Remember that?
I know.
It was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, how about it?
I remember in your interview you talked about that you wanted to fly under the radar this year and not say a whole lot. Well, you're 9-0 now.
Yeah,
everybody
Raiders
knows about
off.
how good Plainfield North is, and you mentioned some of the players and I want you to get into some of these guys and with Demir and Sean and one guy that I think has had an outstanding year so far is your running back, John St. Clair. And I know sometimes I read in the paper he kicks extra points and he does that for you. How important is that running game to complement the passing game that you guys have?
All three guys you mentioned have played extremely well, and it really contributes to their work ethic and what they've put in the last 3 years. I mean, the senior class won 4 games as freshmen. So the growth that they showed over the last 3 years have been outstanding. Demir, we knew he was going to be a good player as a junior. Just that COVID year kind of gave him a little bit of adversity there. That as a sophomore, he only played in a couple of games because we got cut short there. And I remember seeing Edgy at a 7-on-7 at Naperville North saying this kid's going to be pretty good next year. And then him and Sean Slancer, our wide receiver, they're good buddies, and they throw and catch with each other, like every day for the last 3 years. They play basketball together. They're good friends. And then, Johnny Sinclair has been a great surprise for us. We knew he was a good athlete. He's a good baseball player. That's kind of his primary focus. But, he was their running back in that class his freshman year, and, really put some good weight on him in the off season. And he's quicker than a hiccup there. And then he kicks our extra points, kickoffs. He's a little everything for us. So those three are definitely just outstanding players in our offensive line. They're average about 6'2", 6'3", 270, and they get off the ball, and they're mean and they're nasty, and they just all complement each other real well.
Yeah, Anthony, that's the one thing that really, there were a few things that stood out to me when I saw you in the Minooka game. Was you mentioned the size of the offensive line, but you mentioned how quick they get off the snap. They really are. They are, terrific. Everything you look for. Great bend and leverage, and they know pad level, and again, obviously a compliment to your offensive line coach. And I guess as far as Demir is concerned, he seems like a just a really nice kid, and you talk to him, and he's incredibly well mannered, very patient. Is that the same on the field too? Because he just seems like personality wise, he's not going to get rattled by too much.
No, Demir is he's a laser focused kid. He's very high academically. He's been the captain of the basketball team as a junior. He runs track, and everything he does, he's a perfectionist. So there's not a lot of joking around once practice whistle goes off. He's you're going to see him focused in and making sure other people are at his level. So no, you're right by saying it's hard to rattle him. He's a very intuitive player, very cerebral in the way of his approach of playing football. So no, he's having an outstanding year, and you could just tell by his work ethic since he was a junior he deserves every bit of it.
How many call-ups on the roster, and how important was it just this week alone getting that extra 2-3 extra practice days for those guys?
Well, we called up many jerseys, so I think we'll dress close to 99.
Awesome.
If we had that zero, we would. Next year we will. But the sophomore group is another group that's very good. So it was nice to get those guys up. We put them, we 2 platoons. So getting those guys in the scout team and just getting them accustomed to varsity football early is huge for our program and where we, how we want to develop them. So just, how meetings work and how install work is completely different on the lower level. So it was definitely beneficial for our program, especially those kids. And then to see, our receiver, Shaibu Muhammad, 6'5", and catching passes over DB, and just seeing like, hey, I'm going to have to get to this level pretty soon. I got to fill this gap. So, and they're excited to be up there, and it's good for our program.
Anthony, I'm going to go to the other side of the ball now. Early on in the year, you talked about that maybe one of the question marks might be, the defensive line, because the linebackers are good, the secondary is good. I think, I saw where you guys only gave up 94 total yards on Oswego East, which I think is pretty good. But defensively all year, just reading some articles, and I want to thank you again for getting me the stats and what I asked you for right away. It was probably about 20 minutes after I emailed you on Monday. I hope I didn't bother you or anything, but I appreciate that very much. But it sounds like the defense as a whole unit now with the defensive line has really come through this year.
Yeah, we kind of pieced together our defensive line in the summer. A lot of them play different positions. I always like to, being on the defensive side of the ball for so long, take kind of that backup linebacker type that is maybe a step slow to play linebacker and put them down the D line, and they become this fast, athletic defensive lineman. Yep. So I think all 4 of our defensive linemen were converted linebackers. Our biggest, D tackle is a junior, and he played running back and some other positions on the lower levels. And kind of got bigger and stronger, and so he's playing kind of our nose. Mason Draper was a fullback and linebacker coming up. Anthony Galino was an outside backer. So, yeah, we kind of converted them, and, they have motors on them. They don't, have as much lead in the pencil as we'd like, but they get the job done. And our two linebackers behind them, Logan Rooney and Gerald Floyd, are just unbelievable pair for us. They're both 6'2", 210, read guards well, getting pass coverage, could run with running backs. So, and in our secondary, which we knew it was going to be a plus for us this year, really has done an outstanding job as well.
Well, Coach, plenty of lead both here in these two pencils. We're not very sharp, but there's plenty of lead, so trust me on that one.
I could be an anchor for you, man.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. Rich Township, what do we need to know about them? What do they do that gives you some concern going into tomorrow?
Well, we were excited to play a new team for sure. I know for a while, even me and Tyson talked that, we really didn't want to play each other the next week just because we like to see the variety of 8A. So, there's something we haven't seen before on offense and defense, the way they play. They're really run-heavy offense. Kind of reminds you of the old school, where I used to play at Plainfield Central in the 90s, that Gordy Gillespie, like double wing stuff, but it's, double tight, three backs in the backfield. They're pulling tackles and tight ends and trying to get leverage on you and run the ball. They got a lot of good athletes. Defensively, they run a 4-3, but their outside backers, a little wider with two high. So, bunch of looks we haven't seen before, which is fun for us as a coaching staff to get together and come up with new strategies and kind of how we're going to play it. It's fun for the kids too, that you actually get an install where you're not doing the same things over and over again. From what we could see, they onside kick it every time. They don't punt very often. So a lot of unorthodox things. We played Crete last year, week 2.
Yeah, similar.
And they're in the same conference, and they run some similar things. And so we're kind of familiar with their conference a little bit and kind of how they do things.
Yeah, they and again, that was a one score, Joe, that I know when you were doing your homework too, is that
Right.
they for one way or the other, they gave Crete a relatively close game, which surprised me a little bit. And you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think they were beating Crete at halftime in that game, I think.
Yeah. Excellent. Got to imagine this time of year, who do you go to? Is there anyone you go to outside, maybe former coaches, someone, I don't know, do you seek out that advice? Do you seek any kind of input from, another coach or a mentor or someone that you would maybe kind of rely on a little bit, or you want to keep that under wraps?
No, we, Brian Cooney is a mentor friend of mine.
Yep.
So we touched base a little bit right after the conference meeting this week. I kind of go to him if I ever have an issue with the program or just how to handle a certain situation. He's he's one of the best coaches in the state of Illinois by far. So it's good to have a guy like that to give you some advice. We got some, as we like to call them, old timers on our staff,
Yep.
Paul Murphy and Tim Cedarblad, that have been around a long time. So they've seen and heard everything. And, although, sometimes it's changed, they're still great guys to get advice or bounce ideas off of. And they're always the first one in the locker room with me. So there's always that kind of private time where we can kind of discuss things that need to be discussed. So,
yeah, outstanding. All right, this is the WJOL Game of the Week tomorrow evening, 6:00 kickoff out at Plainfield North. The Tigers host Rich Township. You can hear that game right here. Again, we talked about the pregame show at 5:40. And after this game, don't go anywhere. We're going to have a special score zone for you following games across the state. And certainly hoping and fingers crossed that we'll have a Plainfield North win for you guys to celebrate tomorrow night. So again,
I hope so.
Anthony, it's taken us so long to get you back on the show, but glad to have you. And we're hoping to be hassling you from now all the way through Thanksgiving.
Yes.
yeah, me too. I appreciate you having us on.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All
We
right, thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much, Anthony.
Thank
I'll
you.
see you tomorrow
Bye-bye.
night.
All right. Anthony Ambordino from Plainfield North, Joe. And again, just happy for him. And what a great run for them. And Joe, I kind of like their seeding, quite honestly. There's some tough ones potentially in the second round, but nothing that these guys haven't seen. So at least early on, I think they're okay.
And this is Anthony's fourth year, and I added the wins this year. 27-9 is not a bad record.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
So again, appreciate him joining us. We're going to have to step aside and take a break, but when we come back, we're going to have some open phone lines. We're going to dig into some of these brackets, give you our thoughts and observations from what we've seen. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, watching us live, appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. Same with you at home, listening on 1340 WJOL or listening on, your Alexa or whatever it is. Welcome. So we'll step aside, take a break. You are listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
I'm Dawn Coletta, the owner of Elegance Underneath in Naperville. Every day at Elegance Underneath, we honor and care for those affected by breast cancer by offering an array of post-surgery products. As a board-certified mastectomy fitter, I will personally fit you to ensure a great, comfortable fit. Elegance Underneath is an accredited Medicare facility, which means we can help you file for your Medicare benefits. Elegance Underneath offers the best fitting bras for every woman, all shapes, styles, and sizes, and the highest quality brands. We also offer a selection of shapewear, panties, and more. Call Elegance Underneath to set up your mastectomy appointment with myself for your post-surgical needs at 630-579-5983. That's 630-579-5983. Like Elegance Underneath on Facebook, and come see us in the Naperville Crossings Plaza at Route 59 and 95th Street in Naperville.
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative HCC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and of appetite.
The name to know for heating and air conditioning too. Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
Cooler temps are coming sooner than we think. Hi, this is Rick Cronholm, president of Johansson and Anderson Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now is the perfect time to install your new heating and cooling system with special offers from Johansson and Anderson and energy rebates. We're talking York and Johansson and Anderson rebates of up to $850 and utility rebates up to $450 on qualified heating and air conditioning systems. That adds up to $1,300 back for you, and you'll use less energy all winter. Invest in your home, get money back, and save money every month. Call the name you can trust for over 75 years, Johansson and Anderson. Call J&A today, sleep tight tonight. Johansson and Anderson, a York certified comfort expert.
Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
So you have a garage, but don't keep your everyday car in it? Or wait, you have a driveway, but it's blocked with, a junk car. You know that huge hunk of junk that you keep telling yourself you're going to fix or get rid of? Now is the time. Joliet U-Pull-It wants your junk car and will offer you free same-day pickup and the highest price in the area, guaranteed. Imagine having room in your garage or your driveway this winter. Better yet, imagine having more room and more money in your pocket. Joliet U-Pull-It will make it happen and accepts all makes and models. Simply log on to JolietUPullIt.com and click on Sell Us Your Vehicle or call 815-723-3011 to get a price immediately for your junk vehicle. That's JolietUPullIt.com click on Sell Your Vehicle, or call Joliet You Pull It directly at 815-723-3011 to get rid of that junk car at your home for good and put money in your pocket.
High school football on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the round one edition. Joe, what happened? We were walking in the studio one day and it was like 90 degrees and now it's dark and it's not 90 degrees.
No, it's not. Not at all.
Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you joining us again. This edition and every edition of Pigskin Preview brought to you by State Farm agents John Wright and Joliet and Kevin Malloy in New Lenox, like a good neighbor, Joe.
State Farm is there.
And we are thrilled to be with you. So, Joe.
Yes, sir.
We had these things called playoff pairings come out Saturday night.
We did?
We did. And I had just a swell time down at IHSA headquarters for the live stream weird thing I did every year and miss my friends here in 1340, but had a good time. I got to hang out with the Seuss, the one and only, for most of the evening Saturday, and that's always enjoyable.
And the gentleman in the middle, who's
Jim Taylor, longtime radio voice out in Western Illinois, very nice guy as well. So we have fun. We get along. So I hope that comes across. That we kind of like each other. So they're good people there. So 815-254-7300. We'll open up the phone lines. The DM's open as well. So if you guys have some questions on DM, if it's somewhat respectable, we will certainly put it up there and address it for sure. So hit us up if you want to go that way or if you want to call us old school, 815-254-7300. Joe, anything jump out at you bracket-wise from the area that maybe surprised you or caught your attention?
Well, we've already talked in 8A a little bit. The Bolingbrook Maine South game,
great game.
Yeah, and
that'll be my game tomorrow night.
Yeah, that one kind of jumped out. Lockport playing Glenbard West. The other ones, not so much. I think Lincoln Way East in 8A's got a good draw for the first game, and I'm maybe looking forward.
I think they got a decent draw for that. Eventually you could see like maybe Warren in a quarterfinal.
Right.
It'd be a very difficult game.
Right.
So, outside of that, yeah. Lockport, you're 5-4. You lost week 9. You expect to get a rough draw, and they did. They got a rough draw.
They did.
Bolingbrook again. That's just a great matchup. My guess is it was either going to be Maine South, and then I heard a lot of talk about Naperville North being right in that vicinity as well. So Naperville North historically gets terrible first-round draws, and they did again this year. Poor Sean Drendel. Sean Drendel must owe someone at IHSA money or something because they get, I don't know, it seems like every year Naperville North gets some really interesting draws, and they open up with Marist. So they got no favors at all.
No, not at all.
And same with Plainfield South. Again, I think Coach pretty much knew it was going to wind up being either like a Loyola or a Lincoln Way East, which has happened before. So I think some of the things that surprised me area-wise, kind of pretty cut and dry. I don't think there was a whole lot, Joe, that jumped out. Morris, I guess, in 5 was a little bit of a surprise because they had been projected in 4 for a long time, but didn't completely blow me away. I think, and again, kudos to our friend Steve Susi who's listening and watching on the stream. He projected Joliet Catholic potentially against Providence in round 2 real early. So that one caught a lot of people's attention. It pretty much played out exactly the way the Seuss kind of projected. So saw that coming. But the way 4A fell, not a real big surprise. You got Sacred Heart, you got Rochester, maybe a team like Wheaton St. Francis, and then I'm going to say the winner of probably Joliet Catholic Providence winds up as that 4th team in the semi.
I totally agree with you. And there's the Richmond Burton team that's the number 1 seed in that bracket of the North bracket.
Yep. I shouldn't have overlooked them because I think I picked them to win 4A on pairing night. But
that's the big obstacle as far as
it's like Vegas. Whatever happens on pairings night, don't hold it against me. Don't hold it against me. 815-254-7300. Your phone calls welcome. Let's go out to the phone lines. Bob. Hello, Bob.
What's up, guys?
Hey, happy playoffs.
Yeah, we're ready.
I bet. So again, tomorrow kickoff was at Joe 7 o'clock. I think out at the stadium.
7.
Yep.
Bob, I can tell you, you're getting Phillips. I can tell you this is not the same Phillips team from a couple of 2-3 years ago.
Yep, I know that.
Yeah. So I think you'll be fine. I think you'll be okay tomorrow night. Boy, round 2 could be interesting though.
Yeah, I get a kick out of these pairings because just between us and Providence playing second round, you look at Loyola and Lincoln Way, they played last year in the semi.
Yeah.
They're
Well, here's the difference, Bob.
bracket.
Hey, Bob.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me add.
All right.
They're completely in a separate bracket. I can't believe that computers can pick that. Ain't no way.
Well, here's one thing to remember, and something that we've been preaching for a long time here.
This is the reason why, Bob.
8A is seated 1 through 32.
Right, that's how it should be through everybody.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
we
you,
agree.
sir.
They use the same amount of gas that anybody else would use.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk small school brackets in the 7 o'clock hour. You might want to listen to that because there are some
Oh, yeah,
real,
1A and 2A, I can see they may have to go a long way.
there's some real long trips. So we'll get into that a little bit. But, again, in 1 through 32, Bob, if it falls that way, you can't really complain.
No.
And that's the difference.
You can't, but they should do everybody the same way.
Right. Well, that's what hopefully 1 through 32 gets accomplished.
Because this gas stuff is going to go on forever. So you tell me only
I know.
7 and 8A is going to play 1 through 32 and everybody's got to play quads.
I know.
That's
Bob, why don't you run for office?
Yeah. Get on the board, will you?
Please. Run for office. I'll vote for you.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
Have a
Bob.
good one, buddy.
All right.
Take care, Bob.
Bob
Bye.
drops off, and when one Bob drops off, another Bob hops in. Hello, other Bob.
Hello, fellas. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you?
Good. Hey, just wanted to thank you for getting everybody excited for the playoffs. It's that time of the year.
Love it. It's the best time of the year. It's feeling like football season, but not too much. We should have a good night tomorrow, which is wonderful.
I think the weather's going to be fine.
Yeah, no doubt. Anything catch you off guard pairing night or no?
Yes, that's
What?
one of the things I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Not to beat a dead horse.
But we will.
Going back to a strange officials call a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no, we're still on this?
There's a team that might not have made the playoffs if that call goes the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Now people are predicting them to go deep and be a surprise team.
Although, first time ever we had a 4 and 5 as an at-large, and other Bob, I'm guessing Brother Rice point-wise could have wound up being that only one. I know Mr. Susie's out there listening. I don't have it in front of me. I know that Brother Rice would have had a ton of points as a 4 and 5, so they would have been in the mix. But your point's well taken, other Bob.
I just think it's kind of interesting how fickle one play can affect
100%.
who makes the playoffs, who doesn't.
Yep.
What coaches might be retained, what kids.
Well, here's a little behind the scenes for you, other Bob. So it was very interesting this past Saturday, because there is a rule in the IHSA that all games are supposed to start before 1 p.m. on Saturday. That was not the case. First of all, the Loyola Mount Carmel game kicked off at 1:45. How do I know that? Because I was at home watching it and saw the clock and said, wow, this is going to be late. There was another issue. Now, going to the point you just made, Proviso West against Proviso East, 2 and 6 against 0 and 8. You would think, who cares? Hey, someone cares because someone's getting a playoff point out of that game. That result didn't come until almost 6 o'clock. So we did not get brackets behind the scenes. Usually we'd have brackets by 5. We didn't get them like 7 o'clock. And so the guys going on TV like Dave Bernhardt and Matt Rodewald, who again, those guys, they always do a great job. Dave's the man.
I agree.
But they literally had minutes before they went live on TV. And then fortunately we had a half hour pre-show or whatever, and then we had a whole hour to digest it. But you're right. And people, the other point that we make, and I know Seuss has made it and I do as well, people need to realize how much of an impact the game in 1A has on the entire field. It has a huge impact.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to say. The little games, or what appear to be non-meaningful games, really might affect all the way up to 8A.
100%.
You are absolutely correct, sir.
And there was certainly a enrollment bubble, if you will, that drew a lot of teams from that 5A range down to 4A down to 3A. So there's a big gap in numbers that definitely kind of shook out in the smaller classes for sure. So it was interesting for sure. And there's a few other things, Bob. So keep listening. We're going to get to as well. But again, it's never dull. I'm just hoping, guys, that this is the last year we have to deal with North and South. I hope it's over. And I know I've seen people complaining about travel and and look, if you're in 1A or 2A, if you're Geneseo having to go like almost 400 some miles down to Southern Illinois in round one, I get it. But you know what? The funny thing is, though, other Bob and Joe, if there's a fan base that'll go anywhere for football, it's Geneseo. They don't care. No. They're like JCA. Yep. They're like Sacred Heart. They're like everyone else. They're just going to load up the cars and go. So,
that's one of the things I was going to say with the playoffs. I think it's fun when the team goes on the road.
100%.
The opportunity to kind of go invade a town and places you might have never been before in 100%. Your life.
Geneseo has to go to Carterville, which Carterville is loosely a suburb of Carbondale, right off of 13. So it's down there. There's no doubt about it. So, all right, other Bob.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. All right. 815-254-7300. Again, we got a few more minutes if you want to call. Soapbox time. You ready? Got something for you.
Okay.
Handsome man.
Okay.
Our friends, the referees.
Oh, yes.
Did you know, Joe and audience?
I didn't know until you told me.
Did you know that our wonderful referees who we're trying to pay more attention to and focus on their issue and attract more refs? Joe, do you realize they take a pay cut in the postseason?
I didn't until you told me.
Seriously. The refs in the northern part, now again, I'm not sure what they pay in central and southern Illinois, but here's the deal, and I've been able to confirm this a couple of different ways. So the general per game per refs is $112, okay? Regular season game. Look, a couple other conferences are different. The East Suburban Chicago Catholic pays $117 a game. Chicago Public League actually is the highest paid at $120 a game. So what do you think they make in the first round? 815-254-7300. If you're not a ref, I don't know how we'll be able to tell. All right, I'm not going to do this because we only got like a minute and a half left. So the first two rounds, our wonderful referees make $76.50 for the first two rounds. So they're taking a pay cut for the regular season.
Yes.
They'll make $95 for the quarters, $129 for the semis, and $170 for the state final. So you're trying to retain what you have. You're trying to attract guys like Phil Cantu, young guys that are younger guys. You're not so young anymore, Phil, but neither are we.
You used to be young.
You used to be young. You're still young in our eyes. So, and then you're telling us the plight of refs and how supportive you are and getting involved, but you're paying them less for the postseason, the honor of refereeing a postseason, and you're paying them less, a lot less. That's a big cut, Joe. $112 to $76. That's gas money.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
And as we were talking during the week, the school side of that, I was when I was at Providence, I was the assistant AD when Seth was the head coach, and my responsibility was to do all the paperwork after the game. And folks, I'm just saying, the IHSA makes a ton of money during that's all I'm going to say. They make a ton of money, and if you happen to be fortunate enough, unless they've changed things. I mean, I've been, there for at least 17 years now. You lose money.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
When you go
there's
down,
no doubt
if you
about
make
it.
to this,
You're
you
losing
lose
money. And again, look, I understand IHSA is trying to make back like everyone else what they lost during the shutdown COVID year. But come on, you got to be straightforward with this stuff and say, look, hey, we understand there's an issue here, then work on it.
Oh, I agree.
What's the plan?
Yes.
There's no plan. No one's talking to anybody. And again, I realize it's during the season. And I also realize there's more sports with the IHSA than just football. I have heard that part of the issue is if they're paying football refs this amount, they have to pay everybody that amount in all sports. So, again, I don't know if that's true or not. There's plenty of refs out there that are always welcome to join our witness protection program. We'll always take care of them, Joe. We don't have the voice scrambling thing yet, but we'll work on that.
Without being politically incorrect here, football season draws the most people.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
During the playoffs.
100%. All right. We're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we are going to bring in the Velvet Voice, play-by-play man of 1340 WJOL, Dave Dwyer. And stay with us. We're going to continue to talk playoffs. If we can, we'll pull in some phone calls from you as well. Always available on the DM as well on YouTube Live. Brian Stone asking us Glenbard East over Minooka, ? Brian, we're going to answer that when we come back from the break. You're listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. Oil keeps going up as the Russia conflict escalates. Get in on the next major oil boom now and help the U.S. with your patriotic investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. The U.S. government needs your investment in oil and is allowing you to write off nearly 100% of your investment in the first year. Goldman Sachs is projecting oil to go up to $100 a barrel. Call 800-278-7455. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 800-278-7455.
Do you know who you will be voting for to represent us in the 40th State Senate District?
Actually, in the 40th, my decision to support Patrick Joyce for the state Senate has been one of the easiest.
Oh, really? Patrick Joyce?
Yes, Senator Joyce has proven he is a voice of reason.
Oh, that's right. I met him at a community event a couple of months ago, and I remember how knowledgeable and straightforward he was.
Senator Joyce has worked hard to build relationships throughout the entire district, visiting with farmers, small towns and villages, and community leaders. He's delivered tax relief. He's stopped government overreach, all while delivering resources to those that need it.
Well, now that you mention it, I do remember how he led the charge to expand the biodiesel sales tax exemption, which kept an affordable and renewable fuel source in place, protecting our environment while still fueling our economy.
Yep. Patrick Joyce is someone to get behind.
Well, that makes it simple. I plan on voting for Patrick Joyce for the 40th State Senate District. Hey, thanks.
Paid for by the Illinois Farm Bureau Activator.
It's been 9 long months, but high school football is back. This is State Farm agent Kevin Malloy, the proud sponsor of the Pigskin Preview Show, wishing all of our local teams the best of luck in 2022. Only time will tell how many champions we'll crown this year. Speaking of championship teams, if you're looking for a new insurance agency, why not consider the Malloy State Farm team, voted the best of Will County 4 years in a row. Give us a call at 815-463-5800 to hear what a championship team sounds like.
Have you been looking for lunch in all the wrong places? Then stop by Jody's Chicago-style hot dogs and more. And do we mean more? At Jody's on Republic Avenue, you'll find a full selection of Chicago-style hot dogs, Polish and even corn dogs too, along with hamburgers, chicken, ribeyes, Italian beef, sausage, and more. And a stop to Jody's wouldn't be complete without Jody's famous hand-cut fries. Jody's Chicago-style hot dogs and more. 326 Republic Avenue in Joliet. Catering and delivery available online at jodyshotdogs.com.
Lauren Underwood is failing Illinois families. In D.C., Underwood votes the straight Democratic Party line, rubber stamping Biden and Pelosi's agenda 100% of the time. Underwood spent trillions we didn't have. wasting our money on a ski slope, luxury hotel, and golf course. Now inflation is at a 40-year high, costing Illinois families over $700 a month. And with violent crime rising, Lauren Underwood is being bankrolled by defund the police radicals, and she gave stimulus checks to prisoners. We deserve better. Scott Grider is a leader, not a D.C. politician. In Congress, Grider will stand with law enforcement, fight crime, and keep our neighborhoods safe. And Grider will stop the reckless spending in Washington, get inflation under control, and cut taxes to put more money back in your pocket. Scott Grider is on our side.
I'm Scott Grider, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Scott Grider for Congress.
Pigskin Preview with Edgy Tim on 1340 WJOL.
Welcome back. It is the round one edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Edgy Tim along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero, Phil Cantu, and now Dave Dwyer joining us on the phone. And Dewey, appreciate you taking some time, and welcome to the playoffs.
Ready to roll, guys.
All right. What caught your attention? What did you point out? What did you notice when the brackets came out Saturday? What's bugging you? Fire away.
Well, there's always things bugging me. I wasn't ready for that one. I was ready to give you three that I think could be around for a while.
That works. Fire away.
The three that I think can be around for a while, and they all kind of have a common theme, is Wilmington, Morris, and Lincoln Way East.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why I think all three. I think Wilmington obviously got punched at Reed Custer when we did that game. They rebounded from that, been playing well ever since.
Yep.
Morris has had a couple setbacks, latest one last week, but against some really good competition. And their bracket looks favorable. And Lincoln Way East, I think the best thing that happened to them last week is they were pushed to the absolute limit, even though they ended up winning.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the three of those. A couple others, Joe, that I think have a shot to make some noise here. What about you?
Another one that I would add, Dewey, would be Reed Custer.
Yeah, you have to. You almost have to. And again, I went Friday and saw Immaculate Conception and Wheaton St. Francis, which I think both Reed Custer and JCA fans would be a little bit interested in. IC is really good, Joe.
Oh, I know they are.
They're really good. That's a team that, if you look at the brackets, you look at 3A, that sure as heck looks like a potential quarterfinal, and I mean a showdown between those two. That would be that would be a semifinal showdown
game.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to go to. Again, IC just does a lot of things really well, incredibly well coached. Guys like Matt Bowen on that staff. And they've got talent, so that'd be a great game. But I think Reed Custer has a chance to make a deep run. Morris, Dewey, yeah, I'm with you there. I think part of the draw with Morris, I think, is their side of the bracket. I think they went south, and it's much better to be south and north in 5A, from my opinion. Yeah, I mean, even like early draws, someone had asked us about Glenbard East and Minooka. Joe, I like Minooka's draw for the first couple rounds here. I think they can go around it too.
So do I. A lot of people might not think Minooka's that good, but I've seen them twice. They're very
well. Okay, so the reason they think that is because week one against Bolingbrook, they got blown out. Okay, again, that was a million years ago, but okay, I get it. They run the ball, good line play. They do some good things. I think that defense has been probably their most improved aspect of that whole team this year. From week 1 to week 10, they've been consistently good defensively. I think Minooka's a nice sleeper there early on. So, again, Glenbard East, Coach Walters does a tremendous job. The last 3 or 4 years, Joe, they've had a lot of success at Glenbard East. They're big. They're physical. They're another team that wants to run the ball. So, again, something that Minooka's faced already this year a handful of times.
Yes.
I think of Yorkville. Yorkville, same kind of team, big D-line, physical, they want to run the ball. But I think that benefits Minooka. If I'm a team playing Minooka, I want to spread the field and throw it all over the place and see if they can cover. A la what Bolingbrook did against them.
I agree.
So that's my thought, Dewey, on them. You saw the potential matchup in 4A in round 2. I wasn't really surprised if you look the way things shake out. It's kind of according to plan the way the IHSA has it, North versus South. Certainly not a great. It's a great early matchup for the area. It's a great early matchup for the teams, but again, to me, this is exhibit number 1,750 on why we need to go 1 through 32. Agree?
Oh, I completely agree.
I think that David, you and I will have a lot different game than we had. What was that, week 4? I don't think we'll see the scoring as we did. And just the offense controlling everything until the fourth quarter. But I agree with Edgy and agree that should be a quarterfinal matchup for sure.
Dewey, what else? Anything else you want to get into a little bit bracket wise?
Well, I put Reed Custer, Joliet Catholic, and Providence in. You guys mentioned IC would be down the road for Reed Custer, and I'm talking before you get to state. Joliet Catholic, Providence. You get whoever gets through that gauntlet. You shortly probably have.
Yeah, they have a good road.
Richmond Burton.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Well,
till the summer.
That's not going to be easy. And then I look at Lamont, and looming a little bit down the road for them is Crete Monet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
I got that now.
Yeah, if you're Lamont, I think you got to feel pretty good at where you landed. And again, you're a 1 seed, so you would anticipate you have a pretty decent draw, and I think they do. The Quincy Chatham, boy, there's a team Lamont hasn't played in a while, huh?
Yes.
There's a lot of playoff history between those two.
Well, I tell you what, I'm hoping that Glenwood Chatham beats
up
Quincy.
Here. Yeah.
So they'd have to come up to Lamont.
Quincy's not bad, though, folks. Quincy is a very young team. A lot of people, when I was out in the Quad Cities a couple weeks ago, told me that Quincy is the young team to watch out for next year coming out of the Quad Cities. A very, very talented team. But, yeah, Kenwood, as I've talked about, they have the talent. I don't know, how they would do. And guys, I'll tell you right now, Washington and Bremen, and we love our guy, Dan Stell over at Bremen.
Yep.
But Bremen isn't anywhere near battle tested as a lot of teams in this side of the bracket. And guys, Washington and Darryl Crouch, this is not a real good Washington team this year. So You're right. That side of the bracket for Lamont, I think you've got a nice path.
Well, David, you're talking about Crete. They would have to. Well, Crete would have to.
They got to get through the second round. Look at that
Simeon.
Second round matchup.
Yeah, they and Simeon.
Simeon got a horrible draw. It's a terrible draw. So you open with Oak Forest, and Joe, again, not a terrible team, but they should handle Oak Forest. Odds are you're going to play Crete in the second round. And, waiting in the semis or in the quarters, East St. Louis. That is rough. That is rough.
Yes.
Absolutely tough matchup for sure. As far as Dewey, as far as IHSA and the presentation, the TV presentation, I'm not sure. Did you watch the TV portion of it?
I did.
You gave me some really good feedback on it. Talk about that a little bit, kind of what you would like to see.
Well, Dave Bernard does a great job with whatever he does.
Yes.
Not his fault, but if you're just the average person watching, when you guys were going to come on, if you're watching that, they keep saying, coming up next.
Yeah.
So you're sitting here thinking, okay, I'm on the right channel. And then you're scrambling, it's online.
Right. See, the problem is, and you knew this going in, and we knew it as well, it's two completely different entities with two separate shows that they're trying to form some kind of synergy between, and there's none because we're on stream only, and they're over broadcast television. So, it's great that they kind of feed in, but as Dewey, as you said, it just doesn't mesh because obviously you have to leave one and go to the other, and you're just not going to get a lot of people doing that. So, I think again, and I've explained this. People have asked me about this before, and it's a completely different group that's handling productions of this stuff now. And it's no knock because, I mean, let's face it, the only outlet TV wise we have right now is WCIU. So, and their game of the week, they do a fine job at the production. A little too drone happy for my opinion, but that's okay.
Technology.
Yeah. But they just, first of all, they're not doing any playoff games, which is disappointing. Found that out today. Marquee, who I've started doing stuff for, by the way, go to Marquee Sports Network. You can find some of my work there. I'm doing like 2-3 stories a week for them, and you can go check that out. It's all free stuff. Go, by all means, go visit. Yes, this is a Sox fan telling you to visit Marquee Network. So, believe me, the plans are they are going to get involved. I don't know how quickly that's going to happen, guys, but they do want to get back into the TV production business and start doing games. And knowing the group that, again, as I told you guys, this is a group that was at NBC Sports Chicago for a while. They know what they're doing, and they generally do it very well. So I am hoping they'll get into the mix of things here starting this year and then really hit it hard going into next year for TV. But, yeah, there's a big void. There's no doubt. I think people are going to really realize it the further we go down the playoff road. And you're just going to have less and less. So you better bundle up and start going to games or watch really shaky feeds online and get tempted to get scammed out of going to the right
That's the
feed.
one thing too, yes.
And, but there are, and it's funny because you guys know this. There's some good ones and there's a lot of bad ones. We're fortunate. JCA has a very good one. Brother Rice might have the best one, which is funny because it's like kids doing the play-by-play stuff, but they're great.
They're
though.
pretty good.
They're awesome. And thank God for WJOL because how many years? Over 90 been here, whether it's streaming now or good old over the air, still doing high school football. Thank you to, State Farm Agents, Malloy and Wright and Tire Tracks and Dewey, all the sponsors. So that's the only reason why we're still on the air and still doing stuff. So it's an interesting landscape, but if you're a high school football fan, unfortunately, it's going to continue to dwindle.
Edge, curious if you touched on this. I know you and I talked about this. How much the influence is going to be with the official shortages for Saturday games? Not to have them.
Yeah, it's already. We talked about this, and I actually talked about this Saturday night. The week before, there was a memo sent out to all the ADs and member schools. I don't want to say telling them to schedule Friday games, but encouraging them to schedule Friday games because of a potential of the shortage of refs. And what people didn't understand about that is, most of your good ref crews do college on Saturday. Why? Well, they're making more than $76.50. And they're not taking a pay cut doing the postseason versus the regular season. And they get travel and they get treated very well all the way to the D3 level. I know guys that do D3 up in Wisconsin and in the conferences out here. They are very happy the way they're treated. They get decent pay. They get travel taken care of and get treated very well. So bottom line is you're not going to pull them away from those college assignments on Saturday. And guys, we've seen this, Dewey. We talk about this all the time. I think it was last year or the year before, guys. It was like after round one, everything was Saturday. I mean, it immediately went to Saturday. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, looking forward to tomorrow night. I'll be in the studio doing an extended post-game show. We'll take call-ins, have people on like yourself. So really looking forward to recapping opening night.
It's a good idea.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's a good idea. The timing works out since our game of the week is 6 o'clock. So by all means, everybody, listen to 1340. Listen to Dewey and Evan in this post-game studio show. It should be a lot of fun. I'll be calling in, reporting from Bolingbrook, Maine South with live updates. So thanks, Stu.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, Dave Dwyer joining us. This has been hour number 1 of Pigskin Preview on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 coming up after ABC News.
Are you struggling to keep up with your kids, your finances, your insurance, your life? Then let State Farm agent Michelle Kerfin in Homer Glen help you simplify and get to a better state. Because with Michelle Kerfin handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else and more money too. Because adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and actually help you get ahead. Call State Farm agent Michelle Kerfin in Homer Glen and get to a better state with State Farm. Find Michelle online at insurewithmichelle.com.
It's been 9 long months, but high school football is back. This is State Farm agent Kevin Malloy, the proud sponsor of the Pigskin Preview Show, wishing all of our local teams the best of luck in 2022. Only time will tell how many champions we'll crown this year. Speaking of championship teams, if you're looking for a new insurance agency, why not consider the Malloy State Farm team, voted the best of Will County 4 years in a row. Give us a call at 815-463-5800 to hear what a championship team sounds like.
Will County's News Talk Sports, 1340.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Aldinger. 7.5 years in prison for a man who beat a police officer and then handed him to a group of rioters during the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Here's ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Former D.C. police officer Michael Fanone recalling the moment he thought he was going to die. Fanone's police body camera showing the crazed mob swarming him, dragging him, and beating him.
At one point, people started chanting, kill him with his own gun.
Today, the man who dragged Fanone into the mob, Albuquerque Head, was in court to face sentencing. Fanone told the judge, "Your Honor, I would ask you to show Mr. Head the same mercy he showed me on January 6th, which in case there's any question in this courtroom, is none."
It's one of the longest sentences so far among the Capitol rioter cases. Brent Cross lost his son in the massacre at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. He's among the family members who are calling on the head of the State Department of Public Safety to step down.
Your officers were in there within 10 minutes, correct? Yeah. Are they not representatives of your department? Absolutely. Therefore, they failed. Therefore, DPS failed. Therefore, there was culpability. Therefore, if you are a man of your word, then you would retire.
Director Steve McCraw says although some DPS officers did fail the community that day, the department didn't. The U.S. Office of Special Counsel will not take action against White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain for retweeting a political message to his official government account, which is a violation of the Hatch Act.
He fixed it as soon as it was pointed out and take the warning to be more careful seriously. That's very different than the prior crew here.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Investigators in Maricopa County, Arizona are looking into a fire at a community center which serves as an early voting drop-off space. You're listening to ABC News.
Doors are being slammed in your face, and bad credit is holding you back from buying a house, a car, even getting a credit card. $99 can put your credit back to 720 or higher. That's right, just $99 per credit bureau. Bankruptcy, tax liens, judgments, and even late pays can be removed from credit reports by calling Ray's Webinar. Just be one of the first 10 callers. Take our personal credit challenge and get your credit score to a 720. 800-647-1088. That's 800-647-1088. Call now.
Chest up and then the core. At Misty's gym, boot camp gets pretty close to the real thing. She wants to spot a personal trainer with a military background.
I can cover this week's boot camp, but we need someone staff. Is it your cousin Maureen?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply. One person is dead after a helicopter crash off the Gulf Coast of Louisiana. The Coast Guard says an oil rig crew spotted the survivors in a raft, and a helicopter crew airlifted them to the hospital. The NTSB is investigating. We could soon learn if there's going to be charges in the deadly shooting on a movie set in New Mexico.
After over a year of investigating, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department has now given their findings to the District Attorney's Office, which means the next step is whether or not charges will be coming in the shooting on the set of the movie Rust in New Mexico that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. During its investigation, the Sheriff's Department has given no indication if Alec Baldwin, who was holding the gun when it went off, or anyone else on set, might be facing criminal charges in the case. Hutchins' family recently reached a settlement with Rust producers, which will allow the movie to finish filming in a few months. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
The number 3 Texas Longhorns will host DePaul in a preseason exhibition basketball game this Sunday. All ticket sales are going to help the city of Uvalde build a new school in the wake of the May massacre at Robb Elementary, where a gunman killed 19 fourth graders and 2 teachers. Hawaiians could soon have another volcanic eruption on their hands. Officials are warning residents on the Big Island that the world's largest active volcano, Mauna Loa, is sending signals that it might erupt. Comes amid a recent spike in earthquakes at the volcano summit. It last erupted in 1984. This is ABC News.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Your official home for Joliet and Will County sports is 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. Edgy Tim, yeah, that's my name. Edgy Tim, along with the coach, Joe Rodagero, Phil Cantu, spinning the dials, and welcome to this edition. Brought to you by our State Farm agents, Kevin Malloy in New Lenox and John Wright in Joliet. Like a good neighbor, Joe?
State Farm is there.
Game of the week starts with the pregame Friday Night Lights at 5:40. Bright and early Friday Night Lights for you tomorrow at 5:40. Followed by the game of the week in Class 8A. Rich Township travels, take on Plainfield North. Coach Joe, Scott Slocum on the call. Following that game, a little something new, the WJOL Score Zone. We are going to, certainly we're still going to send out the text, but this will be a live post-game show with Evan Bredesen and Dave Dwyer. Going to give live recaps and updates from several of the area games. So we'll have you covered. I'll be out at Bolingbrook for Bolingbrook and Maine South. So I'll call in with a report or two. And so, yeah, definitely listen afterwards. Joe?
Yes, sir.
Our guy, George Chart, is on the phone, and we're going to bring him in, joining us from your Lockport Porters. Coach, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Good to be here again.
Good to
be aboard again.
It is good to be aboard again. It's playoff time, so again, it's just good to be talking playoff football. Again, Glenbard West play every Saturday at 1:30, and they have their traditions. And George, it's a little strange because most places Saturday football you kind of don't get a ton of atmosphere, but as you all know, this is a program that just seems to thrive off of playing in that stadium, and they definitely will bring it on Saturday.
Oh yeah, they bring it. We have our tape on them, and we've seen them play, and we know their history, and we know what they're capable of, and we're looking forward to the challenge. We're excited to travel over there, and be part of the Saturday afternoon atmosphere over there. And we don't want to be in awe. We just want to go over there, enjoy it, and play our style of game.
George, I looking at them, I just a little bit on tape that I did a little homework with this, and in they're 8-1, and their only loss was to York 17-13. But going through the games that I saw, I think they run the football. They come out running the
100%.
football, and I think a key, and you can agree with me or not, I think if you can hold them, and it's a big job, hold them to under 175 yards, you got a chance with this, and they love their defense to create turnovers, and if you can win the turnover battle and keep them under 175 yards rushing, I think you guys have a chance to win here.
Yeah, I would like to agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. And it was kind of like the game we had against Andrew last week, where Andrew we knew liked to run, and we battled them, and the difference in that game was even though we had 2 turnovers, for us, we turned the ball over twice, and one of them was for a pick six. And the other one was right at the end of the game when we were looking at, it was tied up and we had the ball, inside around the 20 or the 30-yard line, and we fumbled the ball. So, it's that old adage, keep it close and see what happens at the end of the game. The only problem with, the Andrew game, and we look forward to, is at one point they put together a 20-play drive where, they went for it on 4th down a few times, and I kind of hope that we can get in that same type of battle again, where we're not giving up the big plays. And like you said, just making them earn everything they can and keeping it close, and who knows what can happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. If there was ever a team that lives by the mantra "next man up," I think it'd be you this year. So I mean, you gotta. You give your kids credit for just hanging in there, and you've got kids coming in and out of the lineup due to various injuries. I mean, where are you at health-wise right now going into this round 1 game?
Well, what scale you want me to use? 1 to 10, 1 to 3?
Whatever you're comfortable with, pal. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Well, once again, we're at third string at in the backfield at 2 positions. But I don't mean to sound that as degrading, because I said at the beginning of the year we had 3 quarterbacks. So I thought we're battling for and people might have laughed and scoffed at it, but I really believed it. And we have 3 quarterbacks that I thought were battling for a starting position. The running backs. So we had 2 really really good ones, and the third one was just he's a younger kid, but he's gonna have to grow up quick. So. And that we had another kid go out on defense with a compound fracture of both bones in his legs. It was horrible to see the kid go out like that. But it's the same thing. We got the next kid up. The next kid is in line. He's prepared. He's ready to play, and he's eager to play. And that's what's nice about it. There's no fear. There's no look of fear in any of those kids' face when we say, "All right, put your mouthpiece in and get in there." So that's a positive thing.
There's no doubt about it. How close were your coaches to nailing the opponent? When did they kind of figure it out?
Nailing the opponent?
Yeah, as far as who you're going to play, did they kind of know beforehand?
Oh, guys, come on, give me a break. Come on. They don't know. They No, here. This is a perfect opportunity. We have a guy on our staff. We call him Edgy Jim. Okay, he's Edgy Jim. All right, and they told me last week, hey, you got to get Edgy Tim in there. You got to mention. I go, no, there's only one Edgy Tim. Okay, no, it's Edgy Jim. It's Edgy Jim. So we have our Edgy Jim, and
I think I know who you're talking about, but go ahead.
Yes, he I think he had it down. He had one scenario in there. Well, it was like me back in the when NCAA basketball tournament.
Yep.
I'd fill out 10 forms. Yeah, I was right on one of them. Close. I mean, I was close on one of them. You figure out, out of 10. But I think he had Glenbard West in one of them. Because of the Loyola loss, I think that kind of
it did.
Loyola loss.
Threw a little. And the other thing, and we talked about this earlier. You know what else had a big impact on the overall seeding?
What's that?
Proviso West, Proviso East, believe it or not.
I heard you talk about that earlier.
Yeah. One game
Because of
they had
the playoff point, yeah.
they had for a playoff point. They had an injury in a sophomore game that put them 45 minutes behind. Then they had another injury where they needed another ambulance in the varsity game that put them another 45 minutes behind. So
Oh my gosh!
Just one of those days, and you would never think in a 2-6 versus 0-8 would have so many people interested and intrigued, but
clamoring.
Welcome to the state playoff system here in Illinois. It definitely did. So, pal, wish you the best of luck,
my man,
on Saturday. Go get them. And again, we know one thing: we know the Porters are going to show up and they're going to give them heck. That we know.
Yes, we are. We're going to show up, and hopefully you'll have me back on again.
You bet. You know what?
All right.
I'm gonna keep that 7:05 slot open just for you.
I've got a regular schedule. It's pretty nice.
Go. Not bad.
Yeah, you know what we're going to call
It pays to know the boss, I guess. So,
Yes.
all right, my friend.
Yeah, good luck, George.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
All right. George Chart. Again, Joe, you ain't got nothing to lose.
No.
Defending nothing. The season, that's gone. It's new playoff time now.
Of course.
And again, they've dealt with a ton of injuries, and so what? So you show up and give them everything you got. And we've seen Lockport pull out some amazing efforts over the last handful of years under George. I'm expecting that defense to come out and play really tough and keep them in that ball game for a while.
And as I said to George, and kind of agreed with me about the rushing yards, keep them under a certain number. The turnover battle issues, the games that I saw on tape, they just took advantage, pick sixes and stuff, and go. And defensively, they have a receiver that it seems like their quarterback has something with him. It's number 8. I don't know the young man's name, but if they can keep an eye on him and watch him, it seems like in any pressure situation that I saw on tape, he was looking for
the
number
guy.
8.
Yeah.
He's his guy.
Is that the flip? I can't remember his last name. It's a Polish last name, but yeah, I know you're talking about number 8.
Yes.
All right. We get a lot of questions on DM off of the YouTube live stream, so we're going to get to a couple of those, and we appreciate it. Our guy Captain out there again. Thanks, Captain. Captain always very active with questions here. Is Plainfield Central in trouble against Pekin? Joe, I'm going to tell you something, and Captain, I'm going to tell you this too. Pekin scares me a little bit because Pekin is one of those teams that's a 7A team coming out of a 5A conference, and quite honestly, a 5A conference in the Middle Illini, it wasn't great this year. I don't know, Joe. I mean, I know Plainfield Central struggled. They're 5-4. Why do I feel like that can wind up being a game?
I literally had a coin flip here. I think a key to that game is the quarterback play of Plainfield Central.
Yeah, right. Well, and I'll say that for Manuka as well. We said the same thing.
Quarterback play.
Gavin Dooley's very capable, and certainly a weapon running with the football. Gavin's got to be solid in the play action passing game because they're not going to need a ton of it, but when they need it, you got to convert. If you do that, I think that gives you a great shot against Glenbard East. That's a key. So thank you, Captain, for that. Jeff Brook, why doesn't the IHSA use strength of schedule and who these teams defeated to seed teams more accurately? Because, Jeff, I'll be honest, I'll fill you in on this. First of all, IHSA, people think of IHSA like they think of NCAA. There's about a dozen people that work for the IHSA. Probably 8 of the 12 are executive muckety mucks. So there's not a lot of able bodies in there day in and day out that could do this type of work. Believe me, you got plenty of people that would love to get involved. I would love to get involved. Seuss would love to get involved. We all would. I know Indiana uses a ranking system. They have it's Jeff Sagrin who does all kinds of rankings and has systems. Indiana uses a version of that. So they kind of have a seeding system based a combination of rankings, of polls, of wins and what have you. So it's very doable, but Jeff, I just don't think IHSA has any desire or need to want to get into that, honestly. I think this is easier for them to control and to do it. But again, if you ask the football people, Jeff, I think we'd all be willing to help in and help out. If it's going to make the game better, you're going to have people who are going to want to do it, Joe.
Yes.
All right. David McCarthy on DM. And again, we're streamed on YouTube. I keep saying Facebook, which we are. But YouTube Live, just go to Edgy Tim channel, and you'll see us there. We stream this live every week for 2 hours, so you can go and watch. David McCarthy, obviously very involved with Naperville North here. Naperville North Marist winner beats York. Book it. Well, I don't know about book it, but there's going to be a good team coming out of round one.
Yes.
That was, David, that was the other game I considered going to tomorrow night. It was either going to be Bolingbrook, Maine South, or Marist and Naperville North. But I went with Bolingbrook. But again, that is another tremendous game tomorrow night. Aiden Gray has an absolute cannon. He is the quarterback for Naperville North. The throw and catch I saw Thursday night must be tops in the state. It's very good. And the main receiver being Luke Williams, a junior for Naperville North, outstanding 4-star ranked player. And again, also wishes DeKalb win against Nequa. So yeah, so that was a big win for DeKalb out of the DVC. So thanks, David, for watching us. And again, if you got questions, you can always DM them, and we'd love to use it. Unless you're one of those naughty places that tried to sneak one in on me, but not so fast, Coach Joe.
Not so fast.
All right, we're going to step aside and take a break. Oh, and it's time to bring the guy in.
Yes.
The man, the myth, the legend, the coach, Matt Lang, the co-host of the Third and Lang award-winning, record-breaking podcast, will join us. We will talk some 4A and below. So Reed Custer, Joliet Catholic, Providence, Wilmington. Come on back. We're going to get into it. You are listening to the Round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
What's the best product I bought this year? Oh, that's easy. Salonpas pain-relieving patches. The proven medicines in Salonpas patches reduce my pain and let me do the things I need to do every day.
In a recent clinical study, patients using Salonpas reported improved sleep, mood, and the ability to work. They had less pain and were able to reduce their use of oral pain medications.
For pain, I use Salonpas. It's good medicine.
Time for maintenance on my furnace. Gotta find the best price.
Not just the best price. You need the best, most professional service, too. You don't want to be without heat in the middle of winter.
Okay, so who do you trust?
Well, I've been using Roscope's Heating and Cooling for years. They're always so professional with my heating maintenance, and Roscope's goes above and beyond. They'll check all the gas-fired appliances in our house for safety, not just your furnace.
Like my stove or clothes dryer or water heater, too?
Yep. Roscope's checks all the above, and of course, thoroughly cleans our heating system. They'll make sure it's all safe and ready to go, and my winters are stress-free. Well, for my furnace, anyway.
Will they clean my garage while they're at it?
You're on your own there.
Yeah, it was worth a shot. I'm calling Roscope's Heating and Cooling today.
Or go online, ROUSCULPS.com. That's ROUSCULPS.com.
Will County Seniors, a nonprofit organization serving senior citizens and their families, has provided resources and programming to senior citizens in the county since 1966. We help seniors live independent lives, offering care coordination, simple home repairs, transportation assistance, and even tax preparation assistance. We help seniors maintain their independence and safety. We help seniors live active lives. Seniors have a variety of interests, and we help them find a community of people with similar interests. If you're the physically active type, our Tai Chi, yoga, or line dancing groups may be for you. If you're more of a creative type, you can plug in with our painting or woodworking groups. Or maybe you're interested in meeting new people over board games or meals. Will County Seniors offers all these opportunities. For more information on resources and programs offered, visit willcountyseniors.org or call 815-723-9713. Again, that's willcountyseniors.org or 815-723-9713.
Are you dealing with back taxes? Are you worried about what might happen if and when you do pay those taxes? Call Greg Severson at Cordano, Severson & Associates. Greg has worked with many businesses in getting out of tricky tax situations. He has worked with the IRS for many years and with many different clients. He knows the players and how to navigate the system so that your business will get the best solution for your situation. So whether you're struggling to meet the next tax deadline or dealing with overdue or late tax payments, it's time to call Greg Severson. Greg will help your business now, but also help you set up a year-round tax plan, saving you this hassle year after year. He'll give you a free half-hour consultation to get started and give your business the attention it deserves. Call the firm that has provided quality tax advice for almost 50 years right here in the Will County area. Cordano, Severson & Associates, a firm you can trust and your business can afford. co-founder and proud member of the Will Buy Local Alliance.
High school football on 1340 WJOL.
And welcome back. It is the round one edition of Pigskin Preview on 1340 WJOL. You there? There we are. We're back on. All of a sudden, it got very strange. Welcome back. Well, we are very strange. If you know that, if you're listening already, welcome back. 1340 WJOL Pigskin Preview. Edgy Tim along with the coach, Joe Rodriguero. We are talking IHSA football, and we are going to go out to the phone lines. Joining us, you know him, legendary, former coach, current coach, Matt Lang, the co-host of the award-winning Third and Lang podcast, joins us, and we are going to talk some IHSA 4A through 1A, and even some 8-man if you want to. Coach, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And wow, what an introduction! And I'm ready to go. And hey, this is a wonderful time of the year. And you know, Tim, you and I, we definitely have the radio face. So let's get after it, man.
We do, and I have nothing to ask you at all. So I'm going to leave it all up to Joe. Joe, he's all yours.
All right, Matt. Good to talk to you again. I haven't seen you in a couple of years, so it's good talking to you.
Good to hear your voice, Joe. So shoot away, and hopefully I can give you some answers. And love this time of the year.
Okay, I'm going to start out in 4A, the bottom bracket. Our interest up here is with Coal City, of course. How good is this Wood River East Alton team?
Well, you know, I think there's a lot of questions on that. They started off kind of hot, and then we kind of thought, you know, like, hey, this team might make a run. And then they kind of hit a little bit of a snag. You know, I wondered about some of their competition down there. We thought maybe they were going to come into 3A for a while. But, you know, they're real fast on the edges. Their power zone run game is just excellent. Defensively, they have a knack of kind of, you know, getting to the ball, making some turnovers. You know, they're going to be a tough draw in round one.
And the number one seed, Carterville. Talk about them a little bit.
Well, you know, again, Carterville's a team that we saw on film at Olympia. You know, I'm coaching at Olympia. I'm an assistant coach, and you know, Carterville, you know, undefeated, and you know, they've done everything they needed to do. You know, it's going to be a really interesting matchup. You know, in week one, you know, you have the two forces colliding, you know, with Geneseo going all the way down there.
We got to talk about that. That's an incredible amount of travel.
Incredible amount of travel, you know, and Larry Johnson Jr. at Geneseo, you know, has this storied program, and they've, you know, kind of done the kind of the unthinkable. They've gotten away from their Bob Reed, Larry Johnson, Benny Diericks, you know, like Vic Boblet double dive offense, and they've gone to more of a, you know, a gun zone read power football type of team, and now they're going down to take on Carterville. So I'll get back to Carterville. You know, here's a team that you know, beat Benton earlier in the year. You know, very explosive. They have a little bit of history in terms of they've been in the state championship game. You know, again, they're fast on the edges. Real solid defensive linemen. From the game film I saw of them, I thought they really plugged up holes up front. So I think they're going to give Geneseo all they want. And again, that's just an incredible long trip for Geneseo. But I tell you what, as Tim would say, you know, they're going to come down there with their unique uniforms, their unique helmets, and they won't be scared of anybody. Larry Johnson Jr. is one of my first football mentors in this great game that I've learned how to coach.
And Joe, for Geneseo to go from that Augustana power option game to basically what they're running now is like going from getting things from the Sears Christmas catalog to Amazon. That's how big of a change it is for that town. Wow. Right, Matt? Is that fair?
No, my gosh, he couldn't have said it any better. I mean, just everything I've learned about football is just, you know, wing tee and double dive and, you know, just everything. I mean, that's just, they wear the same socks. They have the same helmets. You know, everybody has the same helmet. They have that old kind of that Green Bay Packer helmet, and they just never really got out of that, you know, I mean, from their lower levels. It worked very good. And, they did that forever with their younger levels. And I don't really know. I haven't talked to Larry Johnson about that, but sometimes you kind of modify and change with the times. I can name some coaches that have done that. A guy by the name of Pat Ryan at Metamora did that. A guy by the name of Mark Ramsey has done that at St. Teresa. Sometimes the game changes and you want to do some different things, and it's a copycat game. And that's where we're at right now. And Geneseo 5-4 came out of the Western Big Six, and it'll be really interesting to see what they do.
Matt, dropping down to 3A and go to the Southern bracket. Obviously, the Northern bracket we're familiar. We've got Reed Custer and Piatone in the Northern bracket. I'm interested in who you like coming out of the Southern part of 3A.
Well, I think it's really interesting with 3A. This class is filled with a bunch of 5-win teams, and can any of these guys give a first round opponent a really good game? And I'll just tell you this. I mean, I'm kind of repeating myself, but I'm not going to bet against Cully Welder and Monticello to win a game or two.
Yeah.
Our opponent, Benton, is a good football team. Tolono Unity, I've said this a long time ago, they got punched in the mouth by a really good Fairbury Prairie Central team. And now Scott Hamilton, he's winding things down. He's probably got 6 or 7 years left, and they could be a team to watch out for. Fairbury Prairie Central runs the triple option. They're really aggressive. A sleeper team you might want to keep your eyes on. The Roxana Shells down in Southern Illinois. A guy by the name of Wade DeVries. He is the head coach, and he was the offensive coordinator for Nate Albaugh when Champaign Central made that big, deep run in the playoffs that year. So those are some teams I would watch out for. But I think what it'll come down to, gentlemen, I think it'll be Williamsville and Prairie Central playing in the semifinal game, and I like Prairie Central to go into the state championship game out of the South.
Okay, I'm going to jump back up into 4A for a second, man, if you don't mind. In that bottom bracket, if there is a team in that bottom bracket that can beat Sacred Heart, who is it?
Wow.
Well, it would be Rochester. I think that collision course is right there. But again, here's some teams. Mentioned this again last night, so I'm going to go with my notes and go with kind of my gut. I really like this Macomb team. They're 9-0 now. They have played in a smaller conference, but they have the quarterback, they have the receiver, they got a couple of good running backs. Murfreesboro, we've seen them on film. They've made a run here last year when they went to the state title game. I really think everybody, the football gods, are all wanting to see if it's going to be Leonard Bowl one more time. Yeah. Carterville is 9-0. They're going to have to get past a Coal City team probably in round 2, and then they're obviously going to be, taking on probably Rochester. Could Carterville be that team? What I've learned sometimes with Rochester is if they have to travel somewhere, maybe sometimes their level of play goes down a smidge, not much. I think weather has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Yes.
One year, I think Rochester went up north and kind of got beat in a slugfest up there. But right now, I think all signs are pointing to, Leonard Bowl.
Going to 2A. Obviously, Wilmington, certainly one of the big teams in this area. First of all, I think one of the big storylines, Matt, that we talked about by the way, folks, on the award-winning Third and Lang podcast, which you can catch every Wednesday night, Thursday morning. We talked about one of the big surprises was Maroa Forsyth getting moved to the north as a 1A seed. That was something that caught a lot of people by surprise. Your thoughts and impact on the Trojans now suddenly being in the north?
Well, at Olympia, we're in the Sangamo, and we're 5-4, and we lost to some heavyweights. Eric Lyons is doing everything he can to get this program going, and we lost to Athens, we lost to Moreau, we lost to Williamsville, we lost to Auburn. The point is out of those 4 teams, when I look at star power and guys that are game changers, Josh Joseph has that. He has about 4 dudes that are dudes, and they're going to put their dudes and beat your dudes because they got better dudes. And I'll just say this, this is, I hope this didn't come across the wrong way last night, but, Josh is kind of the Lane Kiffin of high school football because he's beaten everybody and he's beaten the snot out of them. And it's a Steve Sarkisian type of approach, all gas, no brakes, fifth gear, and he'll go right at you. And, I think it will be tough for him. I think an El Paso Gridley or a Farmington could give him a game in round 2. And then you get into that quarterfinal game. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Rockridge, Sterling Newman, Mercer County, or Bloomington Central Catholic? Any one of those 4, I think, could give Josh Joseph a game, depending on where the game's at. And the southern part, Bismarck is a good team. And then Wilmington and Tri-Valley maybe having a collision course there in round 2. So, who do I like in 2A? I mean, I said it last night. I really think all signs are pointing towards a Maroa St. Teresa game. It would be outstanding for the Champaign community and for the Decatur community to have that in Memorial Stadium. I think it would be outstanding. 2 great coaches, Mark Ramsey, legendary. And then, of course, Josh Joseph has just done wonderful things at Maroa.
Yeah, and we talked about the mapping for various classes. And Joe, if you look at the mapping in 2A, it's hard to argue because if you look at it, it's done by the book. I mean, Maroa is a little bit further north than St. Teresa is, and so they definitely went by the mapping. But for that community, it's fantastic for the fact that they're both separated and they're not going to run into each other early. Matt, I think a team we both agreed upon in that southern part of 2A that could be a sleeper, Nashville.
No, absolutely. Nashville is very, very good. I will say this, the more I kind of look at that bracket, though, if Shelbyville's only loss is to St. T on a rainy night at St. T's incredible, whatever you want to call it, Jerry's World Arena, whatever they have. I mean, St. T has this brand new turf. It's amazing.
Great facility.
Shelbyville kind of got beat up that night. They got exposed by St. T, but Shelbyville is pretty darn good. I think they could give Nashville a good game. And I think, signs could point towards maybe a Johnson City and Nashville game or a Johnson City and Shelbyville game. And then those teams obviously are going to have to make a run to try to beat St. Teresa. But Nashville has proven year in and year out that they have all the tools, all the capabilities, and all the, the X factors to make deep runs in the playoffs.
The one point I want to get across and run this by you, and we talked about it last night a little bit, as far as the playoffs in general, this is the first year we have a 5-4 at-large team that made it. We discussed, and I think you're of the same mindset, that this very well could be a trend we can see continuing. And why? Because a big reason why we can continue to see 4 and 5s end up getting in as at-large teams, a lot, Matt, has to do with the growth of 8-man football. Phil, let's talk about that just a little bit.
Well, it's just changed. It's been a seismic, what's the word I want to use? It's just a seismic shift, in high school football. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're seeing all sorts of great things in 8-man football. It's beneficial for eroding populations throughout the state. I had someone ask me today, hey, if West Central has 50 kids out for football, should they be playing 1A or should they be playing 8A? And I don't really have an answer for that. I think the IHSA is going to kind of,
figure it out.
Well, eventually figure that out. But I just think that we're trying to help kids be successful. You need to give kids every opportunity to have football on a Friday night. I've talked to many superintendents, many coaches, many principals that whatever you have to do, you need to put a football product out there on Friday nights. Now, how that is going to impact, I don't know, let's say maybe in Urbana, maybe a Rantoul, maybe a Chicago Public League school. I don't know, but I think that's something that has to be kind of seriously looked at because I think it's going to have a big shift on kind of what we do with our classes, as we continue to just, try to promote this great game. But in terms of that 8-man, I don't know, Tim, do you want me to briefly talk about
that?
No,
but the point being what the general fans need to understand is the fact that, Joe, the more teams that leave 1A and 2A and go to 8-man, there's less teams to draw from in the playoff field. So you're going to continue to go down and grab 4 and 5 teams to fill up your 256. That's the point that I'm trying to get across with this, is that next year you might see 6, you might see 10. It all just depends on how things shake out and how many teams are actually qualifiers to get into that 256.
There's a lot of 4 and 5 teams.
Yes.
Just doing the work that I do with our side with who they're playing. I kind of break things down, Matt, from week 6 on. And there's a lot of 4 and 5 teams in our area with a lot of points that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. But starting next year, you could continue to see those teams have a better shot.
Right.
Matt?
Well, it's coming because, gosh dang it, guys. I mean, look at all the 5 and 4 teams we have in already.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, we're getting a sneak preview of it. We got 5 and 4s going against 5 and 4s, and we have some really good 5 and 4s in all the classes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. My friend, this is the difference between 7 minutes and an hour. Appreciate you as always, my friend.
Yes. Thank you very much, man. Good talking to you.
Thank you, guys. And I'd love to be back on, so just let me know and go watch a high school football game this weekend.
We do it. All right, Matt.
Take care, buddy.
Okay.
All right.
Guys.
Our guy, small school enrollment expert, Matt Lang, joining us. And again, Joe, talk about it all the time. People need to realize the impact that 1A has on an entire playoff field. It's a huge impact and going to continue to be part of that storyline. So, going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines one more time, talk playoffs, whatever you want to get into. We'll be back. This is the round 1 edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk Sports.
Moments like watching my grandson steal second mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for postmenopausal women or for men with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
Cooler temps are coming sooner than we think. Hi, this is Rick Crenholm, president of Johansson and Anderson Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now is the perfect time to install your new heating and cooling system with special offers from Johansson and Anderson and energy rebates. We're talking York and Johansson and Anderson rebates of up to $850 and utility rebates up to $450 on qualified heating and air conditioning systems. That adds up to $1,300 back for you, and you'll use less energy all winter. Invest in your home, get money back, and save money every month. Call the name you can trust for over 75 years. Johansson and Anderson. Call J&A today, sleep tight tonight. Johansson and Anderson, a York certified comfort expert.
Providing comfort all year round. Johansson and Anderson.
Fall is the time to cozy up in a warm blanket and relax in your favorite lift chair. Muscle tightness melts away in the warming comfort of the Viva Lift Radiance Power Recliner at Mars Medical in New Lenox. The Radiance Collection is the first in its class to offer 3 heating pads, located in the shoulder, lumbar, and seat. Warm up as you sink into the overstuffed contoured cushions of the Viva Lift Radiance. Try it today at Mars Medical's showroom in New Lenox, along with many other models to choose from that start at just $799. Spoil yourself or a loved one with a new lift chair from Mars Medical. Financing available on purchases over $200 through Care Credit. Free delivery in the Chicagoland area. Mars Medical on the north side of Route 30 between Cedar and Vine Road in New Lenox, or go online to marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, customer care that is out of this world.
Hi, this is State Farm Agent John Wright. Every team knows the 2-point play can be a winning move. That's why I can help you go for 2 by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money. So go for the win and score savings by combining your home and auto with me, State Farm Agent John Wright. It's just another way we're here to help life go right. Call me, John Wright, at 815-725-5052 today.
Hey, it's Monica from Slocum in the Morning, and I have a scary deal from Wilk Real Estate. My friend Brent Wilk is offering a 3.75% overall commission rate while saving thousands of dollars. With Brent Wilk, you're in excellent hands. He sold over 2,000 homes in his 20-year career. List with Brent Wilk of Wilk Real Estate for a reduced overall commission rate of 3.75% by calling today at 815-230-5356, 815-230-5356, or go to ChicagoAreaHomeExpert.com.
Pigskin Preview with Edgy Tim on 1340 WJOL.
All right. My birthday's coming up. I'm not going to tell you when it is, but when it happens, I would like that bump redone or killed, one or the other, because this show is much more than Edgy Tim. It is Joe Rodriguero as well.
I'm just a cog in the machine.
No, Cog used to be at Providence, and he's not coaching football anymore, just track. But, yeah, so let's get that straight, first of all. Welcome back. Appreciate it. We've got one more segment here before we're out. And, again, our game of the week is going to be tomorrow night, 6 o'clock out of Plainfield North as they host Rich Township. Listen afterwards to the post-game, the score zone. Evan Brennis and Dave Dwyer are going to go around the area, live updates of several games that are ongoing. Again, as I mentioned, my game tomorrow night is going to be Bolingbrook at Maine South. Excited for that one. Saturday, I am going down to lovely Peoria. Going to watch Peoria host Decatur MacArthur. Should be an interesting game in 5A. And maybe hit Wilmington on the way back, Joe. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be much of a game, but you never know. I might stop by depending on how my travels are, where I stop for dinner. You know how it is, Joe. You got your priorities.
Yes.
Our guy Dave McCarthy's out there. One more interesting thought regarding a coach. Love to get your opinion on this line. I heard from a buddy of mine, Jordan Lynch will be a college coach soon. Dave, I disagree. I've gotten to know Jordan pretty well over the last several years, actually going back to when he played at Mount Carmel. God, Joe, I'm old.
You're old.
Know his parents, tremendous family. Obviously, like everyone else in this area, followed his career at Northern. Jordan loves what he's doing. I mean, truly loves what he's doing at Mount Carmel. He's got 2 young kids, young family. Dave, when the family comes, as many of us know, things change. And, Jordan did start out as an assistant coach. I think he saw after about a year what that life really is. And guys, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how some of these guys do it with a family, because that is a full-time, 365-day a week, a year job that never stops. They are constantly on the road. They are constantly recruiting. It just never ends. And if you have a young family like that, Joe, I think Jordan's extremely happy being at Mount Carmel. He's got a great thing going. Joe, will you tell these people to stop sending DMs to us, please? All the nasty people.
There we go.
All the nasty people sending us stuff. So, Phil, stop that, will you? Phil can too. Starting trouble. But, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. By the way, when we mentioned coaching change, we need to talk about this just for a little bit. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm mentioning 2 things with this Jordan Lynch to college. We're both baseball guys too out there. Everybody knows that. The GM for the Milwaukee Brewers resigned as the GM. He's 37 years old. He basically said he's burned out and he has young kids.
Wow. There you go. Yeah, it's a different era for sure.
And one of our friends that we've had on this radio show for a while, he's coaching in Indiana, Coach Buzz at Crown Point.
Yeah.
I looked this up because I drive through Crown Point almost every other weekend to go see my son. Son and his wife and his family, my grandkids. They are the #1 seed on their side of the bracket, and awesome. I think it's 6A.
It's the biggest class, I think, in Indiana. He knew what he was doing when he went out there. That has been a sleeping giant for a handful of years. Their enrollment continues to spike. Great facilities. Yeah, it was all in place.
It is. They got tremendous facilities.
They do. So congrats to Buzz, Coach Craig Gazia, formerly of HF, now out in Crown Point, Indiana. Unfortunately, Joe, we learned earlier this week, Jeremy Cordell, head coach of Lincoln Way Central, has stepped down from the coaching position, and a little bummed out about it, honestly.
So was I when I heard about it.
I've gotten to know Jeremy going back to when he was at Glenbard West, and then obviously Glenbard South as a head coach, and came here, and I still to this day think Jeremy was a good hire. I think he's a tremendous coach. He's my friend. And, I'm sure Lincoln Way Central will be fine. I'm sure they will find a quality candidate. Because, Joe, it's a very good job. It's a great district with a very good job there. Not easy, as we've learned, but still a good position. And I'm sure Jeremy's going to wind up. He put something on Twitter about this isn't it. He's going to go back and coach. And, I agree. I think he'll end up going somewhere and doing very well. But so, again, we have our first coaching opening, unfortunately, in the area.
And, again, I agree with you. I think he's a tremendous guy, good coach. Just sandwiched
in between. Too.
Oh, no.
I mean,
that's don't even have to say that. I think it's a tremendous man. You're sandwiched in between East and West. And,
look at the bar.
And basically, Lincoln Way Central is, as far as in Rome, is landlocked.
Well, and kind of, and you live out that way, so you could attest to this. A lot of that district kind of gone older as far as residents.
That area, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that has an impact too. So again, we wish Jeremy all the best of luck, and I definitely will stay in touch with him. And don't be surprised; he's going to pop up somewhere probably very, very soon for sure. Jerry Miller, hey Jerry Miller, how are you? Got a question for us, DM. And again, if you're watching YouTube, you can DM us anything you want, and unless you're one of those dirty people sending us dirty things, Joe.
Listen,
on you, Joe. They follow you everywhere you go, Joe.
No, they do.
And Phil can too. Phil's actually doing it off his cell phone right now.
He's calling.
So Jerry asked, do you think South Elgin could compete in the DVC football only? Compete? Yeah, for sure. Dragon Theonics has done a nice job with that program. And again, it's a situation where I talked about Pekin. 7A size school playing in a 4A, 5A level competition. That's South Elgin. They're an 8A school playing in with some okay sevens, a lot of 6 and size enrollment schools, and it doesn't help them. Plus, it's a locked conference. They don't play anyone besides who's in that conference. So unless you see them, which I did earlier this year, you just don't know how good they're going to be. Jerry, I'll tell you right now, here's a question for you, Jerry, sir. How good is DuPage Valley these days? That's what I'd like to know. The last handful of years has not been a good run for the DVC in the postseason. So is it a case of maybe South Elgin coming up a little bit, the DVC coming down a little bit, Joe? That's one of the many things that we watch in the first round, how well conferences fare. And that's one I'm watching real closely.
Because Warrenville South's not even in the playoffs.
Well, they're in the Duquesne now, but yeah, they didn't make it. The Duquesne's another one that, and there's been, I think there's some really good conferences that are going to do well. I think the West Suburban Silver with York, with Glenbard West, with who are the others? Downers North. Those are some really good schools that had a good year. I think all those teams are very competitive. Lions is another one that's going to do well. I think obviously the Catholic Blue and the CCL in general, as you well know, everybody knows that they're going to come playoff time. They're very tough. Brother Rice is on the road playing Jacobs in 7A. I think that turns out to be a very good game. I think Brother Rice can give them a game. DVC gets some tough draws every year. Yeah, they do. But you know what, Jerry? It's 8A. Look at that 8A field. I mentioned this.
Draws all over.
I mentioned this on playoff pairing night, and I'm going to stick to it because no one's told me differently. Jerry, this might be, and Joe and Phil and everyone else listening, this might be the deepest 8A field I can remember. Meaning, here are some of the schools you have is like 20 and below. You've got Bolingbrook as a 20. You've got HF as a 21. I mean, you've got Marist, again, playing on Naperville North. Marist is an 18 seed. Marist is always in that
Yeah.
16, 18 seed, and they just beat everybody.
Yep.
So Manuka is a 23. Downers, again, Edwardsville is a 22. There's some really good teams that are seeded way down, Joe, that I would not be shocked to see them pull an upset in the first round and make a move.
Right.
It could happen.
A
lot of good teams there.
Yeah. You could toss a coin on just about 90% of those games.
Right. And there's a few that, I mean, Nequa Valley gets to play Lane Tech at Lane. I think Nequa Valley will blow them out.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, there's a couple others, but I think there's going to be a lot of these games that are going to be competitive. Like even York is hosting Oswego East. The one thing about Oswego East, they got a quarterback in Trey Jones. You better contain him because he starts getting going. They could put up some points, and you just don't know until you square off against these teams where they go. So, Jerry, I get where you're coming from. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think the beautiful part of the playoffs is we start getting answers tomorrow night.
Yes.
That the results trump all. So, and no, that's not a political statement. That's just a turn of phrase.
All right.
I don't do political ever, Joe.
I know.
815-254-7300. I can't stay on my message board, Joe. That just it's like almost an automatic delete now. If it's anything political, if it goes anywhere political, I just launch it. So there you go. So couple minutes left. 815-254-7300. Joe, how does the area do? Let's go. You ready?
11 out of 14.
Ooh, already did the math. I like that. You did do your homework this week, didn't you? Look,
I sure did.
So proud of you. East over Conant, Bolingbrook, Maine South. Who you got?
I got the Brook.
Ooh. Lockport, Glenbard West.
Glenbar West.
Manuka at Glenbard East.
Manuka.
Rich Township, Plainfield North.
North.
Yep, North. Plainfield South at Loyola. Nope. Plainfield Central at Pekin, Joe.
Boy, oh boy.
That's one that if it pops up, I'm going to say, see, Joe, I told you that could happen.
I'm picking Pekin.
Yeah, me too. I don't have that much guts. Lamont hosting Eisenhower.
Lamont.
Morris hosting LaSalle, Peru.
They beat them 42-0 the first time. No reason
Pretty
why.
close to that again.
Yep.
Providence at Wheaton Academy.
I'm picking Provi.
Yeah, Providence is so dangerous in that spot. No doubt about it. Phillips at JCA.
Joliet Catholic.
Game of the week next week.
Yes.
It'll be at Providence. Think we'll get a game time Friday night, or think we'll get one? Think we'll get one in the Score Zone show?
I might see Coach Dougie Turnick, the AD, tomorrow.
We might get a game time Friday night, maybe. Got to win first though.
Yes.
Coal City hosting Wood River East Alton.
I'm picking the Kohlers.
Yep. Piatone at Princeton.
I'm picking Princeton.
Reed Custer hosting. I shouldn't even ask Reed Custer.
My guys down at Reed Custer.
Yep.
Hello to the ladies if they're listening down there.
Hey, to the guys drinking beer in the garage. What's up,
the garage
dudes?
guys. Yes. Hello.
I would like a picture of the garage dudes.
Yes.
Drinking beer, watching the show. Please do that. I would love to see that.
Oh, you're gonna get.
You can do it for next week.
And thanks for the tacos too last week.
Yes, thank you again, ladies. And we definitely will be making a trip down. There's no doubt.
For sure.
Well, I can't speak for the station, but I can't speak for Joe and myself.
Yes.
We will definitely make
we'll
an effort to come down the postseason.
Yes.
But as I told the ladies, it was not going to be first round.
No.
I saw it was coming. So, and then Wilmington hosting Chicago Christian.
The Cats.
Yeah, I think the Cats. Excellent. Want to thank everyone. Want to thank our coaches, certainly Anthony Ambordino from Plainfield North. Want to thank George Chart from Lockport, Matt Lang, Dewey, Phil Cantu for stepping up, stepping in.
Yes.
Coach Joe.
Yes, sir.
And just thank everybody for listening and watching on YouTube Live. And again, enjoy YouTube Live and enjoy the comments and love the feedback. Keep the DMs coming for sure. We love getting questions, and I don't care, and Joe doesn't care if they're local or out of the area, whatever. We'll talk about it. Always happy to do so. So,
yes.
All right, that's going to do it. We're going to wrap it up. So for the coach and for Phil Cantu, I'm Edgy Tim. Thanks for listening. This has been the round one edition of Pigskin Preview here on 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports. Good night, everybody.